Hello and welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Mike. This is a quick sort of tutorial video on how I fit flat crystals to watches, glass crystals that is, that need the hard nylon gasket around them, because you have to learn how to size it all up and the orientation of how to put them in. And equally, I'll show you how where I get them from, which is Cousins, how to find them on the website and what to look out for, etc, etc. I've got a Citizen Cosmotron on here that I'm getting ready for sale, and I can't get the original glass, so I've had to make a compromise. So I feel that this video will be good for that. So hopefully it's all going to go well and it goes in, doesn't break, because I've only got one crystal to do that with. So here we go, let's go to the bench. Okay, what I'm going to show you here is pretty obvious, really, but if you're new to this hobby, it's something that's easier to be shown than to learn yourself. So this is the case in question. All right, I've put this bezel, actually is pushed in. It's got one of these gaskets on it, funnily enough. So the bezel is attached to the case. This is the original Citizen crystal. You can see it's really badly scratched. It has a slight bevel on the edge for decoration, and then it comes with this hard nylon gasket which is fitting in here. Now often you can get them back in, but usually they overhang like that and you have to sort of kink them to push them in because they're a very tight fit. All right, so I've now got to replace this crystal. I can't get the original, so what do? Well, obviously the first thing is obvious, isn't it? We need to measure the crystal. So I've got a vernier here. I prefer to use a micrometer, to be honest with you. They're much more accurate than verniers ever will be. Some of you call these calipers, don't you, as well? So this is saying it's 28.78. It's actually 28.8. All right, that's the sort of margin of error. You get it with the feel and everything in these things. There, I just saw it then for a second. So it's 28.8. So that's the crystal we've got to try and find. At the moment, it's 1.9 millimeters thick. Now, it's these things that can be quite puzzling. These gaskets. You can try to reuse the original, which is something I've done many times with great success, but equally it's probably quite prudent to fit a new one, because then you get a better friction fit. And these can be quite interesting to find and size and understand how they work. So what I tend to do to start with is, I use a micrometer as a rule, is I'll do the thickness. Now it says 0.45, it is actually really 0.4, because that's how they come. I think they come in 0.4, 0.8 and maybe 1 or 1.2, which I'll show you in a moment as we go onto the Cousins website. So you have to sort of know that dimension and potentially the height of them, because the height denotes the crystal essentially. This one is 1 millimeter. As we're going to find out in a moment, you can't get 1 millimeter, but that's almost academic at this stage. So let me take you to the Cousins website. Right, here we are on Cousins, and obviously you can use other companies, you can use eBay, but it's just a principle, and these guys have a good pictorial display so we can see what we're looking at. To find these things, we're going to go to watch parts and watch parts and glasses. So if we look at watch glasses to start with, and we'll go down here to the flat and round, and basically you've got all the different thicknesses, so 0.7, 0.8, 1 millimeter, so on and so forth. We need a 1.9, which doesn't really exist, and this is where it gets a little bit sticky, and where you now need to think about whether I need to buy more than one crystal, because in this instance we haven't got a 1.9, we've got a 2 millimeter. However, the crystal that we've removed has got that fancy bevel on it, of which we can't replicate. So if we buy a 2 millimeter glass, potentially it's going to stick above the case and not look very nice. So I want to try and either get it flat with the bezel, or at worst maybe just a touch underneath it. I've actually already gone ahead and bought 2 crystals, just to be sure. I've bought the 2 millimeter, and I've also bought a 1.5, so we can have a look before we fit. you can see you've got Cousin's Own and you've got the SK. I pronounce this Stern Cruise. I know it sounds nothing like that to the native speakers, but that's how we sort of refer to them all the time in the chats online. Cousin's glass is fine. I just prefer this brand. There's not a lot in it in price. These glass, I mean, are not sapphire glass. You can go and buy a sapphire, of course, and the principle would be the same. But you can see we've got all the diameters going down here in 0.1 increments, which is really cool. So we can get down to 28.8 quite easily. There we are. They've got 3 in stock. They're £1.90 each plus 20% VAT. So they're £2.10 or something like that, aren't they? £2.20. I don't know. I can't do my maths off the top of my head. So they're not a lot of money. Always worth buying 2. Because if you break one, at least you've got the reserve there, because they're not costing a lot of money. So that's how I would choose the crystal to start with. Maybe a couple of thicknesses, or if the one that you're trying to size is the right thickness to the chart, then you're good to go. So we then need to look at the gaskets. All right, and the gaskets are a little bit more interesting. So they have a whole array from O-ring, flats, these sort of hard ones. So I've never known where to use a silicone one. Never seen that before. One's for your pushers, stuff like that, and your crowns. But we want these, the glass gaskets. And when we go here, we can see that we have, sorry about that, we have the I shape and we have the L shape. And this is quite important. I've never come across an L yet that I know about, but essentially this is the profile of the gasket. So you've got this little bit at the bottom. You've got a chamfer on the side here to help it go in. That'll be going up against the side of the case. And this little shallow angle here is obviously to help push the crystal in. Same with the eye. In this instance, we're looking for the eye gaskets. And this is hard to see when you come to fit, and we're going to have a look on the microscope when we come to do it to observe where that angle is, if we can see it, because obviously it's quite easy to put this the other way around. We're looking for gaskets that are 0.4 of a millimeter thick. So you're then looking for probably less than a 0.2 chamfer on them, which is going to be very hard to see by the naked eye. You get it the other way around, which I have done. They don't go in properly. Sometimes they might, sometimes they break the crystal. So very important to understand the differences between the L and the I, and also to find that angle. So to size these, we've basically got to get 28.8, which is the crystal, plus 0.8, so plus 0.4 either side of the crystal. So we are now looking at 29.6. Now I've already bought the gasket that I wanted, but we talked about the heights. So you can see we've got 0.6, we've got 0.8. That one's a 0.8. So again, we've got the Cousin's Own, or the Swiss, I think it's Swiss or German, I can't remember. That's a different brand. So we're looking at the eyes. You can see these are the eye rings, as they call them, or further down is the L rings, and the heights. So our height was 1 millimeter, but I don't think we need 1 millimeter. It's also telling us, so if I click into this one, we have the information here. So this is for crystals for the height of 0.8 millimeters. Sorry, 0.8 for crystals 1 millimeter thick. I bought a 1.9 and a 1.5. So theoretically, I need a bigger or a taller gasket. So if we go down to the 1.2, I'm rushing ahead of myself. So here we go. So for the height of 1.2 millimeters, it's for glasses of 1.3 to 1.5. And again, it's clearly showing you the drawings here, so you can make sense of what you've got to choose from. Now I know that the we're looking for the dimensions of 29.6 to 28.8. And I can't find it now. However, it is there because I have bought it already. There we are. 28.8 to 29.6. There are these theories about, oh, you've got to buy a crystal, 0.1 bigger and so on and so forth. But I've always found that if you just measure the glass that's come out, as long as you've got it out whole, of course, that's the size it's going to be. The glass hasn't changed. So you just measure what you've got and buy the same. It should fit well. So there we go. We've bought those in theory. We can now go ahead and have a good look at them, certainly under the microscope. So here we are on the bench with the crystals that I bought. And as I say, this is the 1.9, 2 millimeters. This is the 1.4, 1.5. Excuse the fingers. It's very ad hoc. I will be cleaning the glasses. So before I put the gasket into the case, this is how I'm just going to figure out which one is going to be the best. So if I put the 2 millimeters in, these do have slight bevels on the edges, but they are for pushing them in, not for decoration. So again, that's something else you have to take into consideration. So for the time being, it will just fit in there loosely, but it will give me an idea of the size. And I'm hoping that's focusing. Yes. So you can see that 2 millimeter glass is far too tall, isn't it? It's much too tall for this this bezel. I can't even say it. This bezel. So the 2 millimeter is out. So you could argue I've wasted the money, but they're like £2. Let's just get it right to start with, eh? If you're not sure. If we put the 1.5 in, that is feeling it with your nail is always the best way to feel if something's sticking up, by the way. It's a little hack I've learnt from my engineering years. That is marginally up, but it's acceptable. So that one is the one we're going to go for. Now, stupidly, I only bought one. So if I break it on this demonstration, you'll all be laughing at me. And I'll have to buy another one, which is just inconvenient. So let's now have a look at the edges of the crystal under the microscope and then also the gaskets. So here we are looking down on the crystal, being a real difficult thing to focus on. And you can just see there's an equal slight chamfer each side. And that obviously is purely to aid fitting. So you can put it in either way. You don't have to be looking at it. I suppose you can argue then that the bit that's showing, so say this edge is showing on the top of the watch case, would be decorative. It would be, but it's very, very shallow, very small, and hardly noticeable. Equally, you don't want a right angle, do you? Because it would be sharp and prone to chipping as well if you caught it on something. So that's that one. The hard nylon gaskets are going to be very interesting to see if we can see anything, because I've never tried this before. So here goes. This is looking down on the new gasket, and it's not obvious because, of course, we are looking for something that is 0.2 or less of a millimeter. So if I turn the two over, this at a glance, it looks identical, doesn't it, really? And it's hard to get a profile. Okay, so I am shaking and it's a little bit out of focus, but I think I can just see on the edge there that it's sort of scalloped in a little bit. Once you've understood which one it is, so if I now turn that upside down, put it back down, let's focus it for you guys, then it might be prudent to just give it a little mark with something. You're not going to see that, are you? Because it's going inside the case, but then at least you know and you can't get it mixed up. Just so you know, I've just had a quick look with my times 12 loop, and it's very, very clear to see with the loop. This is definitely the bottom. I got it right. So I'm sorry the microscope doesn't really pick it up as well as I hope. I guess it's just because it's a white object. So this is the old nylon gasket, because I just want to use this for demonstration purposes. I'd rather, because I've only got one glass and one proper gasket, I'd rather do it right off camera before I push the glass in. So these tend to be, well, they don't tend, they always are slightly over, so that when you're trying to put them in, you can see it's overlapping here. It's a very tight fit. Equally, the glass sometimes just comes over a little bit. So there's, it's sitting in a recess. I'm sorry, we're getting quite a lot of dazzle there, aren't we? Let's see if I can turn that down there. So what I tend to do is sort of push it inwards, and you get a bit of a kink in it when I do it right. If anyone else has got a different way of doing this that's better, please let me know. It's so alien looking at a screen, which is what I'm doing to try and do this rather than look at the object. So I need to make sure I'm still in focus for you guys. It's not working, is it? Okay, that's kind of what I do. I get it like that, and then I can use my finger or a tool or something. Oh, it's typical, just jumps out, doesn't it? But I can push it very gently until it will fit. And trust me, it does it. I'm just making a real pig's ear of it on camera. I'm trying to show you what to do, and then it doesn't work. There must be a different method. And the trouble is here as well, it's an old one, isn't it? So let me get it in and show you. I'm really sorry. I'm trying to be professional, and I'm laughing my head off. Right, there we go. So all I've done is I've just got my finger, rubbed on that hoop a little bit. It pushes it into the bezel. You can see it's slightly bent, but it was when it came out, because that's hard to get it out. The aim of course is to get the new one in there properly. We're going to be pressing the crystal in from the top as well, so that should take any error. And it's a friction thing, isn't it? So the crystal will push on the gasket will push on the bezel and create that firm fit. That's the new one in. And trust me, that went in straight away with absolutely no messing at all, which is just mental considering I've just shown you me faffing about. I didn't even need to kink it. It just dropped straight in pretty much. Sod's law. So now the gasket's in, you need to get your crystal so you think it's as square as possible. You could either use a flat die. I'm using the usual sort of rounded dies with the chamfer on the inside. And I'm very tentative at this. I'm sure other people are more heavy-handed. So I'm just pushing with gentle force at the moment. And what I'm finding at the moment is it's not going in at all. That's slowly going in. In hindsight, I think I need a smaller die, but I'm just going to keep inching that around. If I got another crystal as a spare, I would be a bit more forceful, but I don't want to scrap it now. Okay, after a lot of pushing and squeezing, it's finally gone home. You can see that it's sitting just ever so slightly proud. Perfect in many respects. You've really got to get these in dead square and be prepared to just be a little bit gentle with them. if they go in out of square a little bit and they snag, they'll break with the force that you're putting in. Again, if anyone has an easier route to fit these, then obviously let me know, but they're the most difficult ones to fit in many respects. The tension ring ones you just push in. A lot of glass ones are fairly, well, the other ones that I use, some of them are even glued in, are easy. These are just that little bit more tentative because you always worry about breaking them. Top tip to clean the glass, which is what I'll do. I use glasses wipes. So I'm a glasses wearer. I have to wipe my glasses all the time with little alcoholic wipes. I'll do that now on this, and then I'll use the blower. And with that, I'll show you the finished watch. At this point, I'd just like to thank my patrons for their support. It means the world to me, and your names will be on the screen now. If you want to become a patron, you're going to get early access to videos, ad-free videos, and some behind-the-scenes content as well. It really does help support me, so thank you very much for that. This is the end of the tutorial as well. I hope you've enjoyed it and you take something from it. I'm just passing on what I've learned along the way. Okay, the fitting of the gasket wasn't the best, but you understand. Perhaps somebody might give us a tip in the comments below as well. So there we go. The finished watch. Well, it's looking lovely, isn't it? I've brushed the case, polished the bezel, we fitted that crystal together. I've serviced the movement, put a new mesh bracelet on it as well. I love the fact that it's got this faded dial, so it's very light on the outside and dark on the inside, which is quite unusual. But then that is the Japanese 70s for you, an era that I love more than any other era, to be honest with you. This one will be going up for sale on time-tees.com, so one of you can pick that up. There will be a link down below. More Cosmotrons coming on there in the coming weeks and months as well. That's another way you can support me. If you'd like to join the Facebook group, Retro and Vintage Watches and Restorations, I'd like to see you in there. Lots of conversation on all things watches. Great community, and you're missing out by not being in there, let's face it. So like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you very soon in the next video. Thanks for watching this one. Bye for now.